Good evening, good evening, good evening, my brothers and sisters. How are you doing this beautiful evening? Your brother Tony is in the house. I hope that you all are doing well. Your brother Tony, he have been looking forward to talking to you all this afternoon. So come on in, come on in, come on in. I got some good soul food for you this evening, my brothers and sisters. So come on in. You're going to enjoy this treat tonight. If this is your first time at the dinner table, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Tony M. Toomer, my brothers and sisters, and I speak on relationships. When I say relationships, I believe strongly that God had a unique relationship with the man Adam first. Secondly, he had a unique relationship with the woman Eve. Thirdly, he represented the woman to the man, and in the presence of God, the man Adam said, "Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, I shall call her woman because she came from man." That's where I come from when it comes to a relationship. Now, if you believe in another type of relationship, my brother and sister, you have what is called a free will. And with that free will, you could do whatever you choose to do. But if you send that the dinner table tonight, I basically talk about the relationships of that between a man and a woman with God in the present. And what do I mean by that? When it comes to a relationship, my brother and sister, you must understand this. You must understand that God, he created the man Adam first, then he created the woman Eve. And when he had a unique relationship with both of them, not one, but he had a unique relationship with both of them. Thank you, my mother, for coming to the dinner table. Thank you, Teresa, for coming to the dinner table. Come on in, brother and sister. We got a good treat for you this evening. And if you do not believe in the concept of a man and a woman from the book of Genesis point of view, my brother and sister, I still encourage you to still sit at the dinner table. Maybe you can get something out of this particular topic that I'm going to present tonight. So what am I going to talk about tonight, my brother and sister? Tonight, my brother and sister, I'm going to talk about how to fix relationship problems when it appears to be no hope. Again, tonight's topic, my brother and sister, is how to fix relationship problems when it appears to be no hope. Now, what does no hope mean? That means that, brother and sister, you get to the point where as you have tried everything. So you think you have tried everything, but really, my brother and sister, there's a way in the worst relationship where the worst of the relationship can be revised. And when I say revised, a relationship can be resurrected. Now, I'm going to read this passage to you, my brother and sister. This comes from Matthew chapter 11, 28 through 30. Again, this is Matthew 11, 28, 30, Matthew 28, 30. But that's chapter 11. How you doing, Sister Inga? Welcome to tonight's dinner table, and those of you that are here now. When we look at Matthew 11, 28, 30, and Jesus is doing the talking. When Jesus is doing the talking, Jesus said, "Come to me, all of you that are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest to your soul. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light," says the Lord Jesus. How you doing, Sister Deborah D. Scott? Welcome to tonight's dinner table. So when Jesus is talking, my brother and sister, he's talking about everything in life. But we're condensing this down to a relationship between a man and a woman. Now, when Jesus say, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." So what did Jesus say, my brother? And what did Jesus say, my sister? If you are in the point of the relationship, and let me stress out what type of relationship I'm talking about. The type, how you doing, Sister Monica Kim? The type of relationship I'm referring to, my brother and sister, are those of you that are serious and you have moved to the position in a relationship that's called the engagement period. That's what I'm talking about. Now, or you are married. You see, outside of being engaged, my brother and sister, the relationship, you can't really say that it's serious. I know the world would say that the relationship is serious, but overall, my brother and sister, the relationship is not serious, because if the relationship was serious, that man will put himself in a position to let that woman know that he chooses to select her, and he could foresee her being a part of his future. He does not see that woman as being a temporary fixture in his life. He does not see that woman as being temporary long term. He sees that woman as being long term and in his life to death do us part. So that's the position that a man should see in a woman when he wants a woman to become a purpose in his life. Now, keep in mind, I'm talking about a man that when he's serious, what he's going to do, he's going to move to the position of being engaged to the woman, or he could bypass engaged and are married. The reason why I harper so much and talk about engagement, my brothers and sisters, is because God, he want a man and woman to be serious, and he want them to commit, and he want them to be in a covenant relationship. That's the only type of relationship, and I have said it plenty of time, but that's the type of relationship that God wants a man and woman to be in. Now, when a man and a woman is in a relationship, remember Jesus said, come to me, all of you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. There are a lot of you brothers and sisters in the relationship. How you doing, Sister Parker? Welcome to tonight's dinner table. There are a lot of you brothers and sisters right now. You are very weary, and you have a lot of burden in a relationship. Your relationship is on life support, and the oxygen is about to run out of your relationship. Then Jesus going to say, take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest to your soul. So my brother and sister, Jesus is telling you to come to him, and you have to learn of him. How you have to learn of Jesus? Because you have to have Jesus as a major component in your relationship. That's why he's saying, come to me. And what Jesus is saying, his burden is light, and he will give rest to your soul. What is your soul? Your soul, my brother, is your mind. It's also your will, and it's your emotion. So that is what Jesus is talking about. And then Jesus said, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And those of you that are coming in, tonight's topic is how to fix a relationship problem when there appears to be no hope. If you have hope, my brother and sister, if you have any type of hope, Jesus is your hope. If you do not have Jesus as a part of the equation in your relationship, it's going to sink. It's going to sink. Now, my brother and sister, do you all recall some years ago, there was this group that was called the Police. And they recorded a song a few years ago that was called, If You Love Someone, Set Them Free. But what if you, my brother or sister, are trying to save your relationship that appear to be unsavable? Tonight, we're going to discuss this, how to fix your relationship. But when it comes to question, my brother and sister, what does it mean if you love someone to set them free? It means that you are truly meant to be together. You shouldn't have to force the relationship. So that's what that song meant by the Police. If you love someone, set them free. Because in a relationship, my brother and sister, you don't want to feel constrained in the relationship. You want to be able to exercise your will and move freely. That's just like a man and a woman that has a relationship one-on-one with the Lord. The Lord does not make us do anything. The Lord decides to love us, and the Lord give us an opportunity to decide to love him. And as I have said before, as a matter of fact, I said this last night, love is more than your emotions. You, my brother, and you, my sister, have to decide to love one another. Love is not one-sided. Love is where a man and a woman bring 100% into their relationship. So it's not one-sided, but that man and the woman, if you can understand that the Lord, he set us free in a relationship. He wants us to decide to love him. He have already have decided to love us, and he leave it up to us to love him. That's how Jesus love is. Jesus free to love, and he wants us to free to love. Now, if you're in a relationship where you feel like you trapped, you suffocated, and you can't move, that's not a relationship. So therefore, you don't understand the concept if you love someone to set them free. So you have to learn that. Now, my brother and sister, you have to teach a person how to treat you in the early part of the relationship. This is where a lot of men and women go wrong. You do not set the standards at the beginning of a relationship. A person, my brother and sister, they have to be taught how to treat you. You can't let a whole bunch of stuff go by, because if you let a whole bunch of stuff go by, it's going to be very hard for that person to change his or her ways. So you have to establish the relationship from the onset when you, brother, and you, sister, to decide to be serious and in a committed relationship. And you all have heard this before. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. What that mean? Like say for example, you have a dog in your house. You had the dog as a puppy, and you decided, and instead of training that dog, if that dog have to let some waste out, you let that dog keep urinating on your carpet or doing the other thing on your carpet, and you're not training that dog. So as that dog get older, it's going to be a problem for you to train that dog. But I'm not saying that a man is a dog, and I'm not saying that a woman is a dog, but you see what I'm talking about. So at the beginning of the relationship, my brother and sister, you can't let a whole bunch of stuff slide that you know that you have a problem with. You can't not do that. If you do that, you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball. Now, there are many of you brothers and sisters that are about to enter into a serious, committed, and covenant relationship. And there are others of you that are already in a covenant relationship that need to realize that you will be going in. You are presently in the middle if you're committed, and you will be going out of storms. So you got to understand that, my brother and sister, when it comes to a relationship, you're going to have to take those blinders off, because you are going to have some storms in the relationship. And this is the cycle. You going into a storm. You will be in the middle of the storm, or you going out of the storm. Storms are not going to leave your relationship. It's just like the weather out there, my brother and sister. Sometimes you're going to have the sun, and sometimes you're going to have the rain. You understand? Like if you plant a plant outside, the plant cannot just hold on to, just want the sun all the time. If it's too much sun on the plant, what's going to happen? It's going to wither up. So plants need rain. You understand that, my brother and sister? Plants need rain. And that, my brother, and that, my sister, what you need in your relationship. Sometimes I know you don't want to face some difficulties in a relationship, my brother and sister, but sometimes you got to face difficulties in your relationship. And when you face some difficulties in your relationship, believe it or not, it causes your relationship to grow. And not only are the storms in your relationship, my brother and sister, your relationship going to go through periods of different seasons. You're going to have some spring times in your relationship. You're going to have some summer times in your relationship. You are going to have the fall times in your relationship. And lo and behold, you're going to have some winter times in your relationship. There are 4 seasons, and your relationship going to go through 4 seasons. The longer you stay in a relationship, the more seasons you're going to have to go through, my brother and sister. But there are some of you brothers and sisters, not all now, but if you're single and even some married people, some of you, not all of you, for some reason, you believe that a relationship is a storybook. No relationship, my brother and sister, is a storybook. You got to understand that. And some people, they look at a relationship like it's a fantasy. There are no relationship, my brother and sister, that are fantasies. So you're going to have to get beyond the fantasy part of a relationship. Now, what is a fantasy? A fantasy, my brother and sister, is defined as a pleasant situation or event that you think and that you want to happen, especially one that is unlikely to happen. And that's where a lot of people are at when it comes to a relationship. Sister, let me tell you this, sister. Now, there are a lot of you sisters, not all of you, but there are some of you sisters when it comes to a relationship. You look at too much Lifetime. It ain't nothing wrong with looking at Lifetime and the Hallmark Channel. But you got to understand when you're looking at that type of stuff, my brothers and sisters, especially my sister, that is TV. Some of the stuff is based off of real life, but if you cannot, they make a movie on Hallmark or whatever those type of channels, and it's basically about 2 hours. Life is more than 2 hours. So those are fantasy, and it's scripted. Real relationship are not script. When you look at those movies, my brothers and sisters, when you look at romantic novels and all that kind of stuff, those are actors and actresses. They are getting paid to entertain. So when you look at that kind of romantic stuff, there's nothing wrong with it. But when you look at a lot of that romantic stuff, let me tell you this, my brother. Let me tell you this, my sister. That's how romance is built. That's how romance is built. Romantic story, music, and everything. What you do, you are introduced to the character. You are introduced to the woman normally first. Then you introduce to the man second. And then what happens? How do you move the story along? You have to throw in conflict. How you doing, Sister Greta? Welcome to the dinner table. You have to throw in what is called conflict. Teresa said, but I want to be treated like those ways. I can understand that. But you see, those 2 hours, you want to be treated like that, Teresa, for years, not just 2 hours. So when you're looking at these romantic novels, my brothers and sisters, you got to understand this. Once you meet the woman and then you meet the man early, you already know that they're going to get together. So what do? The producers and the directors, they throw in what is called conflicts. So when they throw in conflicts, the man and woman has to work through those conflicts, and they have to resolve those conflicts. And at the end, they get together. On most romantic movies and all that kind of stuff, they always get together, but that's not real life. Most of the time in real life, when a man or woman is going through adversity in a relationship, a lot of time a man or a woman, they decide to call it quits. But my brother and sister, you should not call it quit. Now you got to understand that some relationship, you got to understand that you may be asking yourself at this point, when it comes to a relationship, you got to understand that there are going to be some smiles in the relationship. Along with the smiles, the reality of a relationship, there are going to be some frustrations. There are going to be some disappointments. There are going to be unexpected sorrows and a few tears. That is the reality of a relationship. Frustrations, disappointment, unexpected sorrows, and a few tears. But you're going to get some smiles along the relationship too, my brothers and sisters. So you're not living in a fantasy. And when you're not living into fantasy, now we get into how to fix relationship problem when it appears to be no hope. How do we do this, my brothers? And how do we do this, my sisters? This is how we do it. My brother and sister, when you identify some difficulties in your relationship, the first thing you need to do, brother, and the first thing you need to do, that's right, Teresa, you need to pray. You need to pray to the one that knows about relationship. to the one that created the man, to the one that created the woman. You have to talk to God through his son Jesus. And I said it last night, and I'm going to say it again. There's no man that come into this world that has a blueprint on how to deal with a woman. There's no woman that come into this world that has a blueprint on how to deal with a man. Brothers and sisters, you have to be taught. You have to be guided. You have to be shown. And all those three components, you will learn how to love. You're not born knowing how to love. In order to love a woman, my brother, and in order to love a man, my sister, you have to be taught how to do it. And how are you taught? After you pray, you have to get with the Lord. And when problems come up, my brother and sister, one thing that you do not do, instead of dealing directly with that person that you have the conflict with, why is it not only women, but ever believe it, there are a lot of men that take their home business outside the home? Why go talk to a family member what's going on into your house without talking to your mate first? Why go talk to your friends instead of talking to your mate about what's going on in your home? Why go talk to your co-workers about what's going on in the relationship without talking to your mate? Why go to social media and talk to social media about things that are going on in your relationship without talking to your mate? When a man or woman do not try to deal with their mate in-house, these are signs, like I said last night, are men and women. They could be up in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. This shows that a man and woman are immature spiritually. So a man and woman is immature spiritually if you do not understand that you need to go to the Lord and have the Lord to show you and move you towards how to get out of the storm. What do I mean by that? Let's go to the Bible. We're going to use this example in the Bible. You are familiar with, there's this passage in the Bible where Jesus was downstairs asleep. How you doing, Brenda? Jesus was down in the lower part of the ship. So keep this in mind, my brother and sister. If Jesus is in your relationship, he's not gone nowhere. You may not hear him, but he's there. Just like Jesus was down in the ship when this storm started happening. It was a bad storm. It was not no secret storm. It was a bad storm. The storm was so bad that the disciples, they thought that they were about to sink. And they was in a lake, but they thought that they were about to sink. Can you imagine this? They up on the top part of the little boat or ship, and the wind's blowing very hard. They could not control where the ship was going. The ship was rocking. It was rocking. Water was coming over the ship. The wind was blowing, and plus it was dark. And they thought they were going to perish. But what was Jesus doing at that time? You got to understand it, my brother and sister. Jesus was God incarnated. Jesus' body was asleep. Now, I know this might be hard to wrap your minds around sometimes. And Jesus was asleep. He was physically asleep. But he being God, he was not asleep. Do you follow what I'm saying? Before Jesus came into this world and before that storm happened, Jesus already knew the storm was going to happen. That's right, Teresa. Mark 4:38 through 40. Thank you, Sister Teresa. Jesus already knew about the storms before he came into this world. And that's what you, brother, sister, got to understand. Sister Brenda said, and the ship carrying the Son of Man, and they thought they were going to crash. They had very little faith in their cargo. That's right. So, brothers and sisters, listen. What happened was they were so afraid. They went down in the bottom part of the ship, and you can imagine this. They running down there saying, Lord, 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 save us. We're about to perish. Do you care about that? Can you imagine Jesus is his body was in a deep sleep. And you can imagine Jesus, when he heard them talking, Jesus didn't I could see Jesus not jumping up in a hurry. I could see Jesus calm. I could see Jesus collected, calm and collected. When Jesus got up, Jesus did not hurry because Jesus had it under control. So Jesus listened to them. He did not discount what they said. He listened. Jesus seen that they was afraid because they thought that was the end. So I can imagine Jesus getting up and he walking up the little steps to the ship. And when Jesus, check it out, when Jesus got up to the top part of the ship, it was still raining hard. The wind was blowing hard. And it was dark. Brenda said, I think they should have went down to the bottom of the ship and went to sleep too. Yeah, they should have. But check it out. What they experienced while Jesus was asleep, Jesus walked right into those same elements. You follow what I'm saying? He walked into the same element, but Jesus was there with them, but they thought he was asleep. His body was asleep, but his presence was still there. He was God in the flesh. And that's what some brothers and sisters, you got to understand when it comes to your relationship. It may appear like the Lord is not there. I'm talking to you Christian brothers, and I'm talking to you Christian sisters. It may not appear that the Lord is there, but he's there. That's why a lot of men and women, they give up and throw their hands up because they are a little faith. That's what Jesus asked them. Are you a little faith? So when Jesus went on upstairs, Jesus said a few words, and we know what those few words were, do we not? Jesus said, what did Jesus say, you brothers and sisters? You all know what Jesus said. What did Jesus say to the wind and the rain? What did he say? I know you all know it. What did Jesus say to that storm? And you got to understand, when Jesus was talking to the storm, Jesus was getting wet too. He was getting wet with the disciples. So he was in it with them. That's right, Brenda. Jesus said, peace be still. And that's right, so Teresa, same thing. When Jesus said, peace be still, what did the Bible say? How you doing, Sister Kelly? That's right, Sister Kelly, peace be still. What happened? It instantly stopped. When Jesus spoke, it instantly stopped. And you know what they said to Jesus? You know they said to themselves, what kind of man is this? That's what they said. What kind of man is this that could, and I'm paraphrasing, that could speak to the rain and the wind and everything, and it stopped when he said, we can't do that. We ain't never seen nothing like this before. That blew them away. But they forgot. They were with the Son of God. So what am I saying, my brother? And what am I saying, my sister? It appears like Jesus was not there, but he was. Let me give you another example, you brothers and sisters, that you get disheartened when you have conflicts in your relationship. So Jesus brought peace to the ship like he would bring peace to you, my brothers and sisters. Let me give you another example of Jesus, and it applies to relationships too. Jesus had just fed a whole lot of people, when he broke bread and fish. It was, you all remember the story, right? When Jesus prayed up to heaven and he divided a whole lot of fish and bread. Jesus fed these people fish sandwiches. It was over 5,000 men and women and children. And he just used a few, but he divided all of them. And not only that, he had enough leftovers. Like when you all come to the dinner table and be with me, when we talk about this good soul food, we always have good leftover. That's why I always tell you all at the end of the program, go ahead and take some of the good soul food and share it with the family and your friends. But back to the story. Jesus told his disciples, he said, go on the ship and I'll meet you on the other side while I bid these people goodbye. Now I know those disciples wondering, how is Jesus going to meet us on the other side when it's just one ship? But nevertheless, he said, take the ship and he'll meet us on the other side. While they went on the ship, it was a calm, beautiful day. Thank you, Sister Teresa. Matthew 14:13-21. Thank you, Sister Teresa. So what happened? While Jesus was bidding the people goodbye, his disciples, the 12, they got on this ship, and it was a beautiful day. It was just like Gilligan Isle. You remember on Gilligan Isle when Gilligan, the skipper, Mayran, Ginger, the professor, Mr. Howard, Miss Howard got on the minnow, and it was a beautiful day. It was a beautiful day back then. And remember when Gilligan then was on there, what it said, the tiny ship was tossed. So before the tiny ship was tossed with the disciples, Jesus was praying. And while Jesus praying, a storm came up on them again. This time, Jesus was not on the ship, but he was still there with them. Even though he was not with them in the flesh, he was still with them. That's like what I'm telling you, my brother and sister, now. Jesus is with you right now. He might not be with you in the flesh, but he's with you. Even if you don't see him, even if you don't feel him, he's there. You have to have faith. So back to what I'm saying, Jesus prayed. And when Jesus prayed and he got finished praying, Jesus seen them out there having problems in that water. He seen it. So here again, they thought they were going to die. They was afraid. Jesus went at the bottom of the ship this time, right? So imagine this, another bad storm. And it was dark again. You got the wind shaking the ship. You got the wind, the water shaking the ship, water coming over, they getting wet. They probably were trying to throw different things off the ship so they could lighten the ship. And it was dark. So they thought it was over with. That's right, Sister Flo. It's so good to know Jesus with her. They thought it was over with. So what happened? They saw something. Now, my brother and sister, let us pretend. How you doing, Sister Sherry Smith? Let's pretend that we were on the ship with the disciple. Let's go back in time, my brother and sister. Let's get in this let's go back into the future. Come on, my brother and sister, let's go back into the future. We finna go back to the future, and now we're about to land, and we're in that little boat with the 12. So we scared too. We're afraid too. We are no different than them. We would have been afraid too. Because we talk about human nature. We would have been afraid too. I know myself, I would not say I would do better than the 12. I probably would have been scared just like them, afraid just like them. So we on the ship with the disciples, and we look and we watching what's happening. We got a front view of the disciples panicking, and we scared too. So we there. We there on the sideline watching this happen. So what happened? They seen something. They seen something they never seen before. What did they see? They thought they seen a ghost. And they started hollering. They said, there go a ghost. You see that? What is that? They said, what is that? Can you all imagine they doing like that? What is that? That's a ghost. And they started hollering. If we were down that ship, my brother and sister, we would have been hollering too. Like a girl. Some of you men will be hollering, go, ow, ow. Some of you guys will be hollering just like a woman. And then what happened? Jesus said, basically, Jesus said, it is I. That's what Jesus said. It is I. They never seen a man walk on water. That defied all the laws of physics. Peter. Now we listening with the disciples when Jesus said, it is I. So what did Peter do? Peter is the one that talked so much. He was quick at the lip. He always talked the most. So what Peter said. Now, some of you brothers and sisters, you may not know this, but I'm going to tell you now. Some of you may not know. Some of you do know. Do you not know, my brothers and sisters, that Jesus was not the only one to walk on water? Peter walked on water. That's right, Brennan. Jesus talked when Peter say, okay, Lord, and I know he was scared because his mind had to wrap around somebody walking on water. You don't see nobody walking on water every day. And I advise you, brother and sister, don't go to no lake or nothing, or you go on a cruise and you want to show off and show people that you can walk on water. I don't recommend you doing that today, okay? But back to the story. Jesus said, come. And when Jesus said, come, Peter, can you see Peter timidly putting one foot out there on the water? And he couldn't believe it. He wasn't sinking. He wasn't believing it. You see, when Peter put that one leg out, guess what he was doing? He was looking at Jesus while he was doing it. He was looking right at him. Then Peter put his other foot on the water. He didn't sink because he was looking at Jesus. So what did Peter do? Jesus, I can imagine Jesus having his hand out just like this. I can imagine Jesus having his hand just like this. He was waiting for him. I can imagine Jesus stop walking. You all picture this. Jesus probably stopped walking. And he was looking in Peter's eyes. And Peter was looking in his eyes. Long as Peter was looking in Jesus' eyes, he was cool. He was cool. But Peter discovered that he was out there in the water, but the ship was way back there, and Jesus was way up there. So he kept walking. Then what Peter started noticing this. Peter started saying, it's still raining out here. All that water still was hitting him, his face and stuff. And Peter was saying, that wind still blowing. And all the water still splashing against me, the wind hitting against me, and he got afraid. Long as Peter was looking at Jesus, he did not sink. But when he took his eyes off of Jesus, we know what happened. He started sinking. And when Peter started sinking, something came to his mind, and Peter said, Lord, save me. And the Bible said Jesus immediately reached his hand out and grabbed Peter's hand. And what did Jesus say to Peter? Where art thou, faith? Jesus pulled Peter up, and we could imagine, because we would have probably done the same thing, and I could imagine Peter holding on to Jesus with his dear life. I can imagine. You all can imagine it too. So Jesus walked him to the ship. And when Jesus and Peter stepped onto the ship, the storm, he didn't have to say, peace, be still this time. The storm completely stopped on a dime. And that blew him away. Why did I tell you all this? The reason why I told you this, and it relate to relationship. Your relationship, my brother and sister, it could seem like, again, that Jesus is not there. But he's there. All you have to do is look for him. Not with your eyes, but with faith. So your relationship, you feel, you think, brother, you think, sister, you feel like your relationship is about to sink. Who sunk my battleship? You're not sinking. It appears like it's sinking. That's what a lot of you brothers and sisters, you say you want to be in a relationship, right? A lot of you brothers and sisters, and I'm not talking about you all, I hope, some of you are afraid. Some of you think that all men have a sneaky agenda. Some of you brothers think that all women have sneaky agendas. Some of you sisters think there are no good men. Some of you brothers think that there are no good women. But there are good men out there, and there are good women if that man and that woman have Jesus residing in them. When you want to fix your relationship, my brothers and sisters, and let me give you one more good example that the Lord is with you when things seem bad. Let's use the illustration Daniel in the lion's den. Let's talk about that. Now we're going to talk about Daniel in the lion's den, and then we're going to talk about the 3 Hebrew boys that got thrown in fire. When Daniel was in the lion's den, he was not alone. Can you imagine being thrown in the lion's den? He wasn't alone. The angel of the Lord was there. The lion did not bother him all that night, and he got took out. Let's talk about the 3 Hebrew boys that would not bow their knee to the false gods. They got thrown in the fire. But what did Nebuchadnezzar say? He looked into that fire because that fire was hotter than it ever been. And when Nebuchadnezzar, I hope I pronounced the name right, when he looked in there, he said, 3 men, we put 3 men in there. But there's a 4th one that looked like, that appeared to be the Son of God. The 3 Hebrew boys, they was walking around in the fire chilling because the Lord was in there with them, and they seen the Lord. By chance, the Lord allowed them to see him, and then this evil king seen them. And when they walked out of the fire, their clothes did not smell like fire. They were not burnt anywhere. So what am I saying? I use a few illustrations. I use some wind. I use some rain. I use some lions. And I use some fire. Some brothers and sisters, you're going to walk through adversity when it comes to a relationship. I'm telling you now, you're going to have adversity when it comes to a relationship. But you can't give up. That's why, my brother, and that's why, my sister, when it comes to relationships, the only way you can fix relationship is you both, from the beginning of the relationship, brother, you must have a unique relationship with God before the woman. Sister, you need to have a unique relationship with God before the man. When the Lord bring you together, my brothers and sisters, when the Lord only bring a believer and a believer together. He never brings a believer and an unbeliever together. If it's a tuber, that's the best way for a couple to get together when they both Christian before. Now, sometimes you can have two people that are lost that get married, but one of them give his or her life to the Lord. And then you got another one that have not given his or her life to the Lord. Oh, yes, sister. This is some deep teaching tonight. Now, you got to understand it, my brother, and you got to understand it, my sister. When it comes to a relationship, it's more than feelings. It's more than a fantasy. It's real life. You dealing, brother and sister, with a human being that had a past before you. Brother, that woman that you met, she had a sinful nature from the time she was a little baby. She might have looked good when she was a little baby. Sister, that man that you're in a relationship with, he could have been a little handsome boy. But every baby, you were the baby. You were a baby. You were the baby. I was a baby. We might have looked cute when we were the babies, but guess what? We all had what is called a sinful nature. Our nature was bent against God. So the first relationship that we mess up is our relationship with God. Before we have a relationship with anyone else, we mess up with God when we are little. Some of you brothers and some of you sisters, you may think that there are some good people naturally out there. There are no good people out there naturally, because we all come into the world with Adam's nature. We come into this world with our nature bent against God. We don't want to do what God wants us to do. We want to do things our way, so we all go out the way. That's what the Bible said. We have all gone out the way. There's none righteous, no, not one. That's what the Bible said about us. There's none righteous, no, not one. So, brother, what do you get in a woman? She is not righteous. Naturally, she wasn't at the beginning. Sister, what do you get? He was not righteous. Our righteous, my brother and sister, according to the Bible, is like filthy rags. If we do something good for somebody and we don't have the Lord, if we feed our children and do things good for our children, but if we don't have the Lord in our life, our righteousness is like filthy rags. Because see, God's ways is higher. God thinking is higher than our thinking. His ways are higher than our ways. So, brother, when you get this woman, she had a sinful nature. Sister, when you get this man, that man that find you, he had a sinful nature. Now, when two Christians get together, guess what? They have different, the man, sister, he have a spirit in him and he's still in the flesh. Brother, when you get this woman, she have the spirit of the Lord, but she's still in the flesh. You got to understand it, my brother and sister. A man and a woman, they have to be led by the Spirit of God, but yet they still have that evil nature. So the Bible say, walk after the Spirit so that you don't fulfill the lust of the flesh. Paul even talked about this battle. There's a battle between the Spirit and the flesh. And I'm about to tell you something what Paul said, but I'm going to paraphrase it. Paul basically said, when he want to do right, he don't do right. You understand? That's what Paul said. When I want to do right, I don't do right. What is good, I don't do. But what is bad, that I do. You understand, my brother and sister? Paul talked about the dual nature of a man and a woman. We got the spirit and we got the flesh. So Paul said, it's not me, because he said, I see two wars going on inside of me. That's what Paul said. There are two wars going on inside of me. There's a battle, the spirit and the flesh. So we have to submit ourselves to the Spirit of God first before we could act right to a man or woman. We got to submit to God first. If we can't get it right with God, you see, we got to get our relationship fixed with God first before we can have our relationship fixed between us and a mate. Paul go on to say, it's not me, but it's my flesh. And then what Paul said, I served God with my spirit, but sin with my flesh. He said, woe is me, I'm a wretched man. So brother and sister, when it comes to relationship, you got to understand this. You're not perfect. You don't have a perfect nature, brother. Sister, you don't have a perfect nature. That's right, Sister Teresa. Thank you. Romans 7, chapter 7, 15 through 20. Romans 7, 15 through 20. Romans 7, 15 through 20. Brother and sister, therefore, if you struggle by yourself, you're going to be struggling with God, doing things with God, and you're going to struggle doing right to your mate. If you do something wrong to your mate, my brother and sister, you doing something wrong to God first. Don't ever think when you do your mate wrong, then to God. No, it'll affect God first. Then it'll affect your mate. So in order to fix your relationship, my brother and sister, you got to do an honest evaluation. You need to look within yourself first and say, am I the problem? Most men and most women, they want to point fingers at their mate, but they have three fingers going back to themselves. If you listen to people that have relationship problems, basically, they always want to point the finger at their mate. They will say he is doing this or he's not doing this, or she is doing this or she's not doing that. But most men and women, they don't look within themselves. They don't say, maybe, what am I doing? What is it I'm doing to trigger my mate? Because let me tell you something, my brother and sister, for me, for an example, I could do something to trigger my wife. Before I point my finger at my wife, I got to look at myself and say, what did I do to trigger her? Even though she got what is called a free will, she has to respond in a right way. But if I continue to press her, she may lose it sometime. Just like me, if she come to me in a certain type of way, I may lose it sometime. But we have a choice on losing it. We don't have to lose it. Remember the Bible say about wrath, it said be swift to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. When it comes to relationship, you have to have God in it. And when it comes to relationship with your mate, if you're bumping heads, if it's a disagreement, you have to listen first. It said be swift to hear. You have to master listening. Then secondly, you have to master swift to hear, slow to speak. What does it mean by slow to speak? Before you say something to your mate, you have to process it within yourself so the words don't come out wrong to inflict damage in your mate's heart. Because if you do not be swift to hear, If you do not be slow to speak, you're going to get angry. And then you're going to get to the point where you're going to start calling one another names. Or you're going to say something to intentionally hurt your mate. Because when you get angry, my brothers and sisters, it could be some stuff that you've been wanting to say. And at that time, that's when some people start going below the belt. A lot of time when people get angry, they say what they've been wanting to say. It's three people that really tell you the truth sometimes. Angry people tell you the truth sometimes. Most of the time, angry people, when they get pissed off at you. Little children, a lot of time. Little children, they just talk sometimes, but they be telling you how they see things. And when a person is drunk, they be honestly drunk. And they tell you some stuff that liquor brought up. That liquor it like uncored them. And then the drunk person tell you what he or she been thinking about you all the time. So you got an angry person that tell you something. You got little children that tell you something. And then you have a drunk that tell you something. Now, when you get angry, my brother and sister, and when you throw those nasty words, that's right, sister, those harsh words, guess what happens? You think that's going to roll off your mate back like a duck, right? Your mate is not a duck. Quack, quack, quack. Your mate is not a duck. Your mate is not named Donna, and your mate is not named Daisy Duck. You're not in Disney World. You on this earth. So when you say harsh words, what does the Bible say about words? It said words have the power of life and death. That's right, Sister Teresa. Loose lips sinks ships. God said in his word that your words have, not had, past tense. It said your words have the power of life and death in them. That's why you have to guard your mouth. You have to tell God, put a watch over my mouth. I ain't talking about a watch like this. I'm talking about guard your mouth. Because once the words go out, my brother and sister, they take effect. They either going to bring your mate down, or they going to elevate your mate. How you doing, Sister Sonia? So you got to be careful, my brother and sister, when you get in disagreement with your wife or your husband. You got to be very careful. If you engage, you got to learn this stuff. That's why you have to have the Spirit of the Lord in you, so he could help you. What did the book of James say about the tongue? The book of James tells us that the tongue is unruly. It said that no man, it said a man have tamed everything. That's what the book of James said. A man have tamed everything but his tongue. It said no man could tame the tongue. It say we bless God one way and then we curse our brother. You see, your words, my brother and sister, is like a tree. Jesus said that a good tree does not produce bad fruit. A bad tree does not produce bad fruit. So if you spiritual, my brother and sister, you got to watch those words that come out of your mouth. Because even if you go back and tell your mate, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. You a bald-faced lie. You did mean to say that at that time. Whatever you said at your mate, you meant it. Because why did you say it? You said it with the intent to break him or her. So you lying now. You told the truth then when you was angry. You told the truth then. Now you're going to come back and lie and say you didn't mean it. Yes, you did. You a liar. Some of you brother, you liars. Some of you sister, you liar. if you didn't mean it, you want to say it anyway. And then you get angry, and then you don't resolve it before you go to bed. So you're going to take that anger and clamor and everything into the bedroom. I told you all, if you're in the right relationship, the bedroom is only for two things. That's relaxation and recreation. That's why I'm saying that two more times. Your bedroom is for two reasons: rest and relaxation. Rest and recreation. Again, remember this for your bedroom: relaxation and recreation. That's the only two things your bedroom is made for, brother and sister. You do not take anger into your bedroom. What did the Lord say? Don't let the sun go down on your wrath. Why did he say that? Because he know that it's going to build up. Tell me then, my brother and sister, which one of you, I know I can't, which one of you know the day you're going to die before Jesus comes? Which one of you, only Jesus decided when he was going to die. I can't decide when I'm going to die to the precise second. I can't do it, and none of you can't do it. Jesus is the only one that decided when he was going to die. You see, when Jesus was on the cross did not kill him. What do I mean by that? Some of you said, Tony, you talking some foreign doctrine. When he was on the cross, they killed Jesus. They killed him. No, God killed Jesus. And some of you said, what you talking about? God killed Jesus. You know why? Because God put all the sins of the world on his son. The men's, all of them helped bring things to pass. They were just playing their parts. God put the sins of the world on his son. Because remember, Jesus said, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Think about it. Let's think. Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. So who knew what was going on? God the Father knew. God had to put your sins, my sins, people in the past sin, people that come in the future sin, all the sin went on his son Jesus. And that's why God had to turn away when he put all the sins on his son. Jesus decided, what did Jesus say? It is finished. What one of you brothers and sisters can say it is finished and then you give up the ghost? I know I can't do it. Jesus is the only one that decided when he was going to die. The only one. There are no other man or woman that could say that. There are no other man or woman that got that power that could decide when you're going to die. So why am I talking about death? The reason why I'm talking about death is, my brother and sister, if you are angry with your mate, like the book of James say, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Brother and sister, when we make plans, we make projected plans. Like my wife and I, we projected to be going on a cruise next month. Yeah, next month. We're projecting to go on a cruise next month. But are we going to actually get to the cruise? I don't know. We plan on doing it, projected. If it's the Lord will, we're going to be on that ship. Or Jesus might come. Or anything could happen. But we project that we're going. But we don't know. Unless it's the Lord's will. I could tell you this, my brother and sister. Right now, when I look at this clock, it's 8:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's 8:23 p.m. I could have a projected plan at 9 o'clock to look at a certain thing on TV. That's projected plan. But I have to really be honest and say, if it's the Lord will, at 9 o'clock, I'm going to do this. The book of James say, what is our life? Our life, my brother and sister, is like a vapor. That's what the Bible said. Our life is like a vapor. It's here now, and it could go away just like that. Quick. We don't know the day. We don't know the hour. You don't have to be in a car and have a car wreck. You don't have to be shot. You don't have to be stabbed. You could be in your home looking at TV, eating a chocolate chip, cooking and drinking milk, and you die like that. You could be in your bed having a peaceful sleep, and you die like that. They take you and they do an exam on you, and they come back and say he or she died from natural cause. They can't explain it. So you want to take your anger into the nighttime and you want to sleep on your anger, brother or sister. What'll happen if your mate die that night? What you gonna do then? Oh, I know what you're gonna do. You're gonna be boo-hooing, right? You're gonna be boo-hooing, you're gonna be talking to him. You're gonna be the main one at the funeral trying to turn the casket over, talking about, take me, Lord, take me, Lord. You lying. You don't want the Lord to take you right then. Take me, Lord, take me, Lord, take me, Lord. I wish we wouldn't have had that argument. I wish we could have got it right. I wish. But it's over. You can't take it back. He or she at the funeral home, your mate, you looking down in the casket, and there's nothing you could say or do for him or her to hear you. The day he or she died is the day they left. That funeral is just a body. They don't hear you. They have entered into the spirit realm. You have no more contact with them at that time. Now after the funeral, you send in the little car that they come get you in. You know, when they put the family in the first few cars, right? You send in the family car. When you leave at the cemetery, you sitting there with all that black on, and you looking down, and that's a bad day. You just looking down, and tears run down your eyes, down your cheek, tears just falling. And the only thing you remember is that bad argument that you have, and you remember those acid words you called him or her. And you didn't call him or her the son of God. I mean, the son of God or the daughter of God. You call him something else. Now you can't resolve it. Now you feeling guilty. You feeling so guilty. Now you need help. Now you get depressed. Now you talking to people and telling them what you said to him or her. The only person that can help you now, like the person that you should have went to when you had that argument, was Jesus. Now you want to go to Jesus. Now you want to go to Jesus because you need help now, right? Too late. Your mate gone. It's just you. So the only thing Jesus could do is help me in your heart. And not only Jesus going to have to me in your heart, you going to feel so guilty. Now Jesus got to help you to forgive yourself for calling your husband or wife some nasty name. Now Jesus got to help you to forgive yourself. You walk around feeling guilty. You walk around with a sore face because you can't change nothing. Then it's what you want to do. Some days go by. You're going to want to get in your car and you're going to go by the florist shop, and you're going to get some flowers. And when you get some flowers, you're going to go to the grave site. And when you go to the grave site, you're going to sit in front of that tomb and you're going to start talking. And that's what you're going to do all the time when you go there, because you guilt tripping. You're going to go there for days. You're probably going to go there days, weeks, months, and years, and you talking. You saying the same thing over and over again, what you wish you wanted done. Because you feeling guilty. How you talk to that man, how you talk to the woman before they kick the bucket. And let me tell you some grim news, my brothers. Let me tell you some grim news, my sister. You are actually wasting your time. You wasting your time going to the cemetery thinking they're going to hear you. They don't hear you. The only thing you talking to are bones and worms. The skin is going to decay. And if you open that casket after a while, the only thing you're going to see is what is called dead man bones. He or she is not there. So you going out there talking to some bones. And you better not take your dog out there because your dog may eat those bones. That's all you're doing, talking to some bones. That person that you remember, that you had a bad argument with, depending on his or her decision, they either with the Lord or they on the dog side, waiting for judgment. It's over. It's over at that time, unless you have to pray to God. Some of you may get into position. You don't have to, because I'm telling you right now, you don't have to put yourself in that position. You got to fix your relationship before you go to bed. Don't go to bed, sleep. The Bible say that. Don't do that. Don't take your wrath to the bed. Don't do that. God telling you not to do it. Disobey God and do it, and then your mate get exterminated out of this world. And then you're going to wish you did what God told you to do. Fixing a relationship, it goes in steps. You have to acknowledge, my brother, and you have to acknowledge, my sister, that was an error. Sometimes, my brother and sister, you may have to take the fault yourself. You may have to take the blow yourself. No, you didn't start it, but for the sake of the relationship, you may have to sacrifice your position to kill that particular disagreement. Just like Jesus, he sacrificed for the wrong things we have done. Jesus didn't do nothing wrong, but he sacrificed for things that we did wrong. So what am I saying? Sometimes, my brother and sister, if your mate do wrong, you have to sacrifice and take it. That's right, Sister Teresa. Just like Sister Teresa said in the book, in Luke chapter 16, 19 through 28, Luke 16, 19 through 28, Luke 16, 19, 28, it talked about the rich man, and it also talked about Lazarus. You see, when Jesus told this story, Jesus didn't lie. Jesus didn't make up stories. When Jesus talked about this rich man and Lazarus, you know what he was talking about? There was two men. The man Lazarus, he had sores and everything, and he sat at the rich man gate daily. He wanted help. The rich man looked at him. He walked by him every day, looked at him, and tuned up his nose and walked by. Then Jesus said, both of them died. When both of them died, listen to me, my brother and sister, this showing you that when you die, your name ain't Rover, the dog. You're not dead all over. When you leave this world, that's just the beginning. When you die in this world, that's the end. When you die and go into the spirit world, that's the beginning. The crucial thing is, are you saved or are you not? And what happened? The Bible say the rich man and Lazarus, they both died. But the angels took Lazarus to Abraham's bosom, which was paradise. And then Jesus said the rich man lifted up his eyes and he was in hell. And the Bible say that at that particular time, you see, Hades or hell was divided into two sections, my brother and sister. You had a side of paradise, a side of hell that was called paradise, and then you had a side where it was torment. But let me tell you about that. The ones that was on the paradise side where Lazarus was at, they could see over there. They could see. And those like Lazarus that died, the rich man that died, they could see over there. So the people that were confident, they felt good, but they still could see over there and see those people tormented. And the people that were tormented, they could see over there and see those people dancing and smiling and stuff, but they was in torment. And the proof of point, Jesus showing you that they was alert where they was at. So the rich man, he called to Abraham. He said, Abraham, Father Abraham, will you have Lazarus to dip his hand in some water and put it on my tongue, because I'm tormented over here? And what did Abraham say to him? No. Now remember, when you was on earth, you had it going on. You had that 401k. You had that top of the line car. You was in that Beamer. You was on social media, letting everybody see you. You had it going on. Everybody knew your name, and you won that chill where everybody know your name. But everybody know your name. You remember that? Yeah, I remember that. I'm sorry. Can you help me? No. Well, I got some brothers. Can you send somebody to tell my brothers about this place? And what did Abraham say? They got the law and the prophets. That's them. And then what did the rich man say? They won't, if somebody go from the dead and talk to them, they'll believe. And then what did Abraham say? If they don't believe the law and the prophet, they won't believe if somebody rose from the dead. Just like today, a lot of people don't believe that Jesus rose from the dead. How you doing, brother Corey? That's right. Pick your battles. So you understand. So Jesus showing you, my brother and sister, that when you die, when your body died, let me tell you what happened when your body died. Your spirit goes back to God. Your soul, your soul is you. Your mind, your will, and your emotion, depending on what you did with Jesus, is either going to go with Jesus and you come back with the rapture to get a new glorified body, or you going to go to hell. Now, let me tell you all about hell right now. Hell right now have enlarged. What do I mean by that? When Jesus died, before Jesus died on the cross, everybody's soul went to hell. What do I mean by that? You see, there was a torment side, and then there was a side called paradise. So with two sides, and there was a big gulf between the middle, so they couldn't cross over. That's before Jesus came. You see, Jesus had to die and spill his blood so he could take. I'm going to tell you what Jesus did. When Jesus died on the cross, let me tell you all what happened to Jesus on the cross. When Jesus died, he sent his spirit back to God. But Jesus went to the Hadean world. See, Jesus went down there in the Hadean world. And he preached to the spirit that were disobedient, like during the flood. So Jesus, for 3 days, if you don't know this now, you know this free. Jesus' body was dead. Jesus sent his spirit back to God, but Jesus, his soul went down to the Hadean world. And he was basically on the side in Abraham's bosom. So when Jesus came back, you have to read your Bible. Let me tell you what, when Jesus rose up from the dead, this is what a lot of preachers don't tell you, my brother and sister. A lot of people, the people that was in paradise, they came up here on earth and was walking around. And people seen them. People from the past that had died, they was walking around here on earth for a few days. Jesus took those people that was in paradise and took them up to heaven, their souls. But you see, when they came back on earth, they was in bodies. When Jesus took them into heaven, he took their souls. So what are those souls doing now? They ready for their bodies. They're not in their bodies. So when Jesus took the people that, and remember, it was two thieves on the cross with Jesus. One went to a part of hell where he's still at today, and then the other one, he asked the Lord to save him, and Jesus said, "You will be with me today in paradise." Listen to what Jesus told that other man on the cross. Jesus said, "Today you go on to be with me in paradise." That's why when that man died, he was on the good side with Jesus and Abraham, David, all of them. So where are David, Abraham, and them now? All of them, all their souls are up in the sky. So what happened to that vacant side of paradise? The Bible tells you that it enlarged. So today, when a man and woman die, paradise right now is in heaven, my brothers and sisters. So when a man or woman die today, if you believe in the Lord, on the Lord's name, you instantly go up there, your spirit and your soul, not your body. And if you don't go be with the Lord, you going to bust hell wide open. So when Jesus come back during the rapture, and you all have heard about the rapture before, right? Jesus going to bring all the souls that died, that's up there with him now, they ready for their bodies. So when Jesus come with them, you see, the second coming, my brother and sister, are in two phases. You got to understand it. The second coming is in two phases. Part one is called the rapture. Jesus is going to bring those souls that are already up there with him. And those that are around him right now, say, for example, if Jesus come while I'm talking to you, if you saved, the ones that come with Jesus, they're going to get their bodies first. And those of us who are alive, we going to meet them in the air, and our body's going to change. The world going to try to explain away. They're going to say a whole bunch of people got missing at one time. That's how they're going to blow it off. So if you're alive when Jesus comes, he's going to take you back with the other. You're going to have a new glorified body. That's called the Lamb's Supper. So you're going to be up in heaven with Jesus for 7 years. And at that time, you're going to go in front of Jesus' throne. Why are you going in front of Jesus' throne? To give you a reward for what you did for him. You see, Christians go to one phase of judgment, and the world go to another, those that going to hell. So Jesus is going to give you your reward. When you go in front of Jesus, he's not going to bring up the bad stuff you did. The only thing Jesus is going to do is tell you what you did for his name's sake, and he's going to reward you. Now, after the 7 years, what's going to happen during those 7 years? There's this guy that's coming on the scene called the Antichrist. He might be here already. He's going to rule for 7 years. Why do you think? Look at what's happening in the world right now, my brother and sister. Look at what's happening in the world right now. You know those debit cards that we be using? You know that if you be working, they don't give you checks and stuff right now. Look at 3 things that happen in this world. Let me look at these 3 things that happen in the world. Look at the politics, look at religion, and look at the financial. You know, a lot of people want this new world order things, right? A lot of people, and then we got this thing called the UN, right? You know, you got a whole bunch of nations in the UN, right? You see, this world system will come together, but it's going to be temporary for 7 years. At that time, the Antichrist is going to be ruling the world. Satan's going to get inside this man, and he's going to rule inside that man. And then he's going to have somebody that's his sidekick that's called the Antichrist. I mean, that's called, he's going to be a prophet. But the Antichrist, so it's going to be the Antichrist and this prophet. So the Antichrist is political. And then he's going to have his sidekick, this religious man. So you're going to have a one world order before Jesus comes. Remember I said about the debit cards and all that kind of stuff. You see how convenient it is, how we be doing things. You know, those barcodes and everything. All of that is getting set up for the Antichrist. Because you know what? It say you're going to have to, if you hear my brother and sister, if you're looking at this video right now, my brother and sister, if you're looking at the video right now, in whatever year, that means that you did not make it at that time. If you're looking at me right now, you did not make it. Now, if you're looking at me right now at this time, after I have gone to heaven, and my brother and sister here, after they gone to heaven, I'm going to tell you something. If you're looking at me right now, those of you that left on earth, you left behind, guess what's going to happen? You're going to have to decide whether you get a mark. You got to get a mark on your forehead or your right hand. You know why you're going to have to, you know why you get a mark right now? Those of you that left behind, they're looking at this video right now, because it was live in the year 2022. It was live, but it's not live no more. This is just a reminder. Since you're looking at this old video, you got to get a mark. It doesn't matter whether you're rich. It doesn't matter whether you're poor. With that mark, you got to have that mark to buy or to sell. Now, how you going to live if you can't buy or sell? That mark, everything going to be linked together. You're going to have a one world order. You're going to have this Antichrist. He's going to rule with a iron hand. You're going to have this false prophet. He's going to be on the religion. Financial. You need money, don't you, to live? All that's going to be tied in. You all notice right now, if you're working right now, you notice that they don't really give you checks no more. Have you noticed that? You notice if you're working, they automatically put it in a bank, right? Have you noticed that? They put it in a bank. They may give you a copy, but you can't cash it. If you are on the world system, meaning that you're not working, and you probably if you're on welfare, you know that they used to give you some welfare stamp. Did you remember that? Did you remember that? They used to give a welfare stamp. What do they do now? They give you a card, right? And you have to get that. You have to use that card to buy food, right? You got to have that sign on your forehead or your right hand to buy and to sell. If you're looking at the video after the year 2022, if we're not gone by then. If you don't get the mark, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be beheaded. If you get the mark, you're going to get thrown in the lake of fire, which is the second death. So you got to decide whether you're going to get that mark, since you're looking at this video and I'm going to heaven, and my brothers and sisters that looking at me, they going to heaven. We going to heaven. But I'm just telling you, if you're looking at this video at that time, that means you got left behind, or you were born during this time. You got to live through this crap for 7 years. And if you don't get the mark, you're going to be beheaded. And it's better to get beheaded because you believe in Jesus at that time. But I don't want to stay here and look at my own video. I don't want to do that. So I'm talking to myself too. I don't want to do that. I got to make sure my real relationship is right first with the Lord. That's right, Brother Corey, going to be here on earth. That's right. You all think it's bad now, don't you? Wait till this cat called the Antichrist comes. He might be here right now. We don't know it. He don't even know who he is. This one man, the world gonna give him all their power, because he's gonna be very articulate. He's gonna be smooth. You all remember they said peace in the Middle East. For a few years, it's going to be peace in the Middle East. The Israelites, they're going to be fooled for 3.5 years. And you know what this Antichrist is going to do after 3.5 years? He's going to turn on them. He's going to tell them he God. He's going to go into Jerusalem and sit on that temple that temple in Jerusalem. And that's when he's going to show his real colors. And then he's going to get so to himself, he's going to call himself a God. And if you don't acknowledge him as your God, you're going to get beheaded. Then this same man, he's going to get the armies of the world, and they're going to go to this certain valley. And they're going to get ready. They're going to call themselves going to destroy Jerusalem. But at that particular time, guess what happened? You, brother, you, sister, and me, we going to be riding on some white horses with Jesus coming down. Jesus is going to describe them with the words that come out of his mouth. You see, Jesus is going to have them all together, and he's going to wipe them out at one time. So Jesus is going to be on this earth for 1,000 years. Satan going to be locked up for 1,000 years. But guess what Jesus going to do? He's going to let Satan out again. Oh, this deep. And at that end, my brother or my sister, there's a thing called the white throne judgment. What is the white throne judgment? You don't want to go to the white throne judgment. You want to go in front of Jesus' throne where he's giving out reward. You don't want to go to the white throne judgment. Why? Because when you go to the white throne judgment, those that are in hell now, they're going to be raised up in those bodies that they died in. They're going to come and have to deal with Jesus. And those that are alive that rejected Jesus, they got to go through to the white throne judgment. And what's going to happen? Everything that you said, everything that you did is going to be brought up and thrown in your face. You could come up with all the excuses that you want. Some people going to say, if you're looking at this video during this time, you're going to be saying, Lord, Lord, did we not do this? Did we not do this in your name? You know what Jesus is going to say? I never knew you. Those some chilling words for Jesus to say, I never knew you. And then Jesus said, depart over there to hell with the devil and his angel. Because you see, hell never was created for man or woman. It was actually created for Satan and those fallen angels. But no, you want to do it your way. Your relationship with the devil and the Antichrist is more important than your relationship with Jesus. And you see the thing about, but when you go in front of Jesus at the white throne, after he tell you everything that you have done, and you're going to make up all those excuses, you know the name, it's going to be some books open, and they're going to have everything that you said and done. And then after that, it's another book that's going to be open. You know what that book called? It's going to be called the Book of Life. And when Jesus opened the Book of Life, your name is not going to be there. So you getting tortured more because you know your name ain't there. He going to look, I don't see your name. I don't see your name. You're going to say, yes, it is, Lord. Look a little more, Lord. It's there. Lord said, your name ain't there. Next. And just think about this. In eternity does not have no end. It has no end. You can't appeal it. You can't pray, because once you go to that second death called the lake of fire, once you get in the lake of fire, the Lord is not going to hear you, period. You're going to be praying. You're going to be hollering. You're going to hear other people hollering. You're gonna think of in eternity all the opportunity you had to have your soul saved with the Lord. That's all you're gonna be doing, thinking all those opportunities that you missed. But eternity have no end, my brother. So you got to understand that eternity have no end. So what am I saying? The bottom part of this thing is bigger than what I was talking about earlier. I was talking about a man and a woman fixing their relationship with the Lord. But the most important relationship, my brother and sister, is your relationship with Jesus. You got to deal with Jesus now, or you're going to deal with him later. What type of relationship do you have with the Lord, my brother and sister? Just what type of relationship do you have? I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just being factual because I love you, brothers and sisters. I gave you a little glimpse of what's going to come. Those of you that on the book, you could like, share, and that's what you could do. Like, share, and make a comment. Those of you that on the tube, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, like and share and make a comment. Because I'm on 2 different platforms, my brother and sister, okay? So if you're at the dinner table, my brother and sister, I appreciate your time. I really do. Because you didn't have to be here, but I appreciate your time, okay? I love you, brothers. I love you, sisters. Thank you so much for coming to dinner table. If you want some of this good soul food, go ahead and get your carrot out. Your brother Tony going to clean the table. I'm glad that you all came, family and friends, okay? You all have a good night. I love you, brothers. I love you, sister. Peace out.